Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for this Let's Play of The Men of Yoshiwara. Kikuya. Let's see, I believe this is chapter 7 that we're just starting here. I accidentally clicked off of the introduction screen, so yeah, I'm pretty sure we're on chapter 7, but sorry if I am mistaken. Alright. I told Hayato about the truth behind the valuables I'd received, and Takeo had overheard. I didn't know what to do, and was at the point of despair. Takeo, please stay quiet about this. Hayato deeply bowed his head. Hayato! It was my fault, and I rushed over to him. Hayato? She's my childhood friend. I know it's not easy to overlook this, but please, pretend you didn't hear anything. Oh, that's news to me. Takeyo's stare was painful, and I slowly hid my face. If my deeds were brought to light like this, there wasn't a thing I could do. It was my responsibility, after all. Takeo, please. Don't worry. Did you think I was gonna go around gossiping? Well, there's nothing in it for me if I keep quiet. Oh, I just thought of something good. Takeo slowly stretched his arm out to me. I could feel it coming closer, and I lifted my head up. He started to comb my hair. His unfamiliar scent startled me, and I became nervous. If you become my captive, I wouldn't mind keeping my mouth shut. What? A bewitching smile crossed his face as he gently let my hair go. But then suddenly, his smile changed completely. It looked joyous and refreshing. You two are really dense if you're falling for my jokes. Your jokes? I was just playing around. Even without you as my captive, I won't tell anyone about your secret. It's actually a little upsetting that you thought I would do that. Oh, sorry. I should have realized. Well, you two are free to believe me or not. Takeo put his hand on Hayato's shoulder as he started to leave. Takeo. Yes? Thank you so much. Why are you thanking me? Takeo tilted his head and calmly walked down the hallway. Takeo's such a good person. Yeah, you're right, despite his looks. It's rude to say that. I could feel the affection of Hayato's words. It was very pleasant. We don't have to worry for now, because I'm sure Takeo will keep quiet. Yeah. Hayato closed the door. We sat across from each other again. Don't talk about this with anyone else. Okay. Keep quiet, and we'll keep this information to ourselves. Yeah, but I've done something that will lead to huge consequences. I just wanted to support their love. My rash actions have caused our current situation. Stop regretting your actions. Misao, let's make the best of tonight. Yeah, why don't you sleep over? No, I just came to talk to you. That's all. But I heard you bought me for the entire night. Bought you? He was right. I was here right now because I'd bought him for the entire night. Money was exchanged so I could meet with him. How much money does this girl have? It was so obvious, yet those two things strangely didn't connect in my mind. Am I wrong, Misao? I was shocked, realizing that I'd bought Hayato. It was normal, and I should have known that. No, you're not wrong. In that case, let's stop talking about this depressing stuff. Since we're together again, we should spend our time having fun, right? He gently caressed my head. I wanted to tell him that I couldn't laugh after doing something illegal. I wanted to tell him that I couldn't have fun in a situation like this. But I bottled up those feelings inside my chest. Yeah. I understand how you feel. Hayato. No matter how much you think about doing it differently that day, I'm sure you do the same thing and help those two. Stop worrying about what's happened. You can't change the past. His voice was gentle, yet sad. Thanks. You always know exactly how I feel. Of course I do. It's because we spent all that time together. In that case, I should know everything about you, too. What are you saying? You were always chasing after me, right? But you conveyed your feelings to me in a number of ways. How so? Hearing him ask that was a little troubling. I frowned. I wasn't sure how I should answer.
Could you sense my feelings from my back?
Hayato slowly took my hand and put it against my chest. I could feel him breathing, and his warmth from underneath the kimono. I couldn't take my hand away and stayed stiff.
Or do you feel it directly from my heart? Or do you get it from how I talk?
He pressed his soft lips against the fingers that he was holding. My heart started to pound remarkably harder. His lips felt warm and gentle, despite how thin they were.
So, how did I convey my feelings to you?
He blew his moist breath into my fingers, so I could feel his warmth. Hayato was looking right at me, but I couldn't make eye contact with him. I hung my head because I couldn't stop my heart from pounding like a hammer. "You're such a bully."
Oh, so I'm a bully.
Oh. He suddenly took his lips off my fingertips. In the next instant, he pulled me closer to hug me. What are you doing?"
Even if we talk like this, you're so stubborn and won't change your mind. Why don't we get into bed and have some nighttime liquor and continue talking?
"No, I don't drink." I felt flustered and tried to make an excuse. Ignoring me, Hayato lifted me up and carried me to the bed.
You can drink a little bit to entertain me, right? I'll just give you a little.
I clung to his neck so he wouldn't drop me, but he was supporting me properly. It was almost strange how safe I felt in his arms. "I can only have a tiny bit."
Sure, I'll teach you how to get used to it.
Okay. He gently placed me on top of the sheets. Unlike Hayato's arms, the bed was a bit cold and made me shiver.
Are you cold?
The futon was a little cold, that's all.
Is that so? In that case, I'll warm you up in no time.
I was at his mercy as he entered the futon with me. He pulled the tray that he prepared closer to us.
This glass is pretty, isn't it? It's my favorite.
It really is. It was a vermilion-colored glass with a cute yellow-green nightingale pattern. It was colored well and set a good atmosphere. I thought how similar it was to Hayato.
I'll give you the special privilege of using this cup.
Huh? Are you sure? It's your treasure, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm letting you use it.
Then, by all means. Thanks, Hayato. He smiled with satisfaction. Next, he tipped the liquor bottle and poured a muddy white rice wine into my cup. The sweet scent of the liquor drifted into the air. It's such a mysterious scent.
A nighttime liquor is a little sweeter and warms you up a little.
Is that so? Hayato poured himself a glass and quickly took a drink. I watched as his Adam's apple moved up and down and looked away out of embarrassment.
Try some yourself.
Sure. The back of my throat started to burn, but at the same time a soft, sweet fragrance spread through my mouth.
How is it?
It's so strange and easy to drink.
Isn't it? Have some more. Let's talk for a bit and then go to sleep.
He poured me another glass. I slowly drank it.
This is the first time I've let anyone use that glass. You better be thankful as you enjoy that liquor.
Huh? Knowing that makes it harder to swallow.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure the courtesan who'd given it to me is happier using it.
Courtesan?
Yeah, the courtesan who'd looked after me. He'd made that glass just for me.
He smiled gently. Seeing it made me feel warm inside. It reassured me that he hadn't just suffered after coming to Yoshiwara. It captures you completely.
Really?
Yes. Hey, Hayato, is that courtesan still in Kikuya?
No.
Then...
You don't have to worry so much.
He petted my head roughly.
He'd worked until his contract had ended and had gone back to the mainland. He's not here anymore, but I'll always respect him.
I see. It makes me feel a little sad, but happy as well.
Yeah, exactly. I can leave after a few years, too. I'll work earnestly and finish my contract. Then I'll go home and help out at the fish market again.
Suddenly, I remembered the valuables I'd been given. I really wondered why Hayato hadn't accepted them. I was certain that they could have helped him a little bit. They could have helped him go home a little earlier.
What's wrong, Misao? Here, have another glass.
As I watched him pour me another glass of liquor. Do you want to go to the mainland too? Do you want to go to the mainland like that person too? He finished pouring my drink and started to chuckle.
What are you saying? You and my mom aren't interested in the mainland.
Thank goodness.
You ask such strange things.
Hayato petted my head gently. We continued chatting into the night. The liquor went through my body and started making me feel hot.
Are you getting sleepy?
No, but...
Do you feel a little tipsy?
Yeah.
Then just close your eyes.
But... Hayato took the glass that I was holding and put it onto the tray. He covered me with a blanket and held me close. The sweet scent from the liquor exuded from both of us and mixed together. My mind drifted. It felt so pleasant.
Close your eyes. If you still want to talk, do it like that.
Hayato's voice was soft as a whisper. The person I cherished was hugging me in this warm place. I did as he said and closed my eyes. I wanted to hear more about you.
What did you want to hear about?
About the time we've been apart.
Okay, little by little.
He'd come and started working when still been a child. I was sure he'd been lonely, in pain, and depressed. That was what I thought, but Hayato's heart wasn't here in Yoshiwara. It was going towards the future, to when his contract ended. Hayato, that's not fair. Tell me everything now.
This isn't our final farewell. We have a lot of time to be together, don't we?
Yeah. After that, I nodded off inside Hayato's arms. My consciousness was swaying between dreams and reality. Before I knew it, I curled up and fell asleep. The next day, I felt regretful again today as Hayato and I said our goodbyes.
Sorry, Misao. I can only take you this far today.
That's fine. It's not nighttime anymore.
Be careful on your way home.
I will. Just then...
Are you leaving, miss?
Iroha came out of the back. Yes, thank you so much for yesterday.
It was nothing. More importantly, I overheard that you'd done a little mischief. I was in disbelief, but was shown proper evidence. I am extremely disappointed.
I was speechless. How did he find out?
Iroha, what are you talking about?
Hayato calmly tried to play dumb.
Hayabusa, you know about it too, don't you? You're both in trouble. Assisting their elopement was a heavy crime.
The air became stiff. Oh, this is not good. Chapter 8, Skillful in Bed. Oh no, are they going to add that guy's debt to Hayato's? Why did Iroha know that I'd assisted the eloping couple? It didn't look like he'd known anything yesterday. In any case, he now knew. The only possibility I could think of was Takeo telling him, but I didn't know what to do.
Who did you hear that from? It doesn't matter. I have no intention of questioning Miss Misao about it either.
Then you'll let us go?
However...
Iroha completely cut Hayato off. Hayato and I slowly gazed at each other.
Hayabusa, lately you've been restless and nervous. As a courtesan at Kikuya, anything that influences your performance is a problem.
I never meant to. But who would snitch on us?
You're being disgraceful. It doesn't matter who had told me. I don't ask people where they get their money when they pay us. There's no problem as long as it circulates through the pleasure district. It's just that, when you're with this young lady, you act like a young servant. Letting your emotions slip isn't something a proper courtesan does. That's all I'm saying.
Iroha? I'm the one at fault, so...
Yes, you are. Iroha! See? Your heart wavers even at the slightest poke. Is that how your mentor raised you? How pitiful. I thought you were a better courtesan than this.
Hayato bit his lip with regret. I couldn't do anything for him but sympathize with his pain. I could at least say, scold me. Iroha, if you're going to scold someone, please scold me. To begin with, I'm the one who started all of this. What are you talking about, Misao? Those two things aren't related. But...
He's right, miss. I'm not talking about that right now.
Misao, you don't need to worry about this situation right now. No matter what happens, I'll protect you. Please, don't blame yourself or worry about all those things. Hayato's words reverberated in my chest. Hearing those words from anyone else wouldn't have affected me, but Hayato's words had to have been special to me. I slowly realized these things.
Hayabusa, I'll say it again. I won't forgive any disgraceful actions.
What was disgraceful? Was it his consideration towards me? Was that really shameful? But, Iroha, I still don't understand. What's wrong with letting my heart waver for a girl who's important to me? Hayato suddenly began to speak in a painful tone.
First, you need to realize that having a special woman is a mistake for a courtesan. You have one too, don't you? I do not.
You're lying.
I don't have one, and I never have. I was born in the Pleasure District and will die here as well.
That was just too sad. I couldn't bear hearing it and looked down at the ground.
Even so, haven't you ever thought about finding true love?
Hayato shouted in sorrow. Oh, sorry, I didn't shout, which made my shoulders tremble. Was it like him to shout so powerfully, so grievingly?
Let's stop, Hayabusa. You shouldn't talk about this in front of a guest.
But...
Can someone come over here?
Iroha clapped his hands and called for someone. I slowly lifted my head up, and Hayato was biting his lip in agitation. Iroha, did you call?
You're just in time, Kagero. Starting today, Hayabusa will be retrained by Kagura.
Huh? But Kagura's my...
He just has to fix his behavior and won't be bothersome like one of the servant boys. Kagero, you can't be Kagura's assistant for the rest of your life. This is a good chance for you to become independent.
Kagura didn't look happy about Iroha's decision.
Hayabusa, please go with Kagero and Kagura. You must become a perfect courtesan who doesn't falter in any situation.
How much time does he have left here? Hayato stayed quiet while he hung his head low. Hayato...
Sorry for showing you how unsightly I am, Misao.
No, it's my fault. Can I come and see you again?
Why don't we have a little talk about that, Miss Misao?
Huh?
Iroha, please, don't do this. What do you mean? I won't harm her. I'm just going to chat with her.
Come on, Hayabusa. I know you don't like it, but this is for the best.
Leave.
After that, Hayato hesitated, but ultimately left. I stayed there feeling anxious. I followed Iroha to a room in the back. The room he brought me to was much simpler than the ones in Kikuya.
This is my room. I'll prepare some tea, so please sit comfortably.
You don't have to do that. I felt miserable as he spoke to me calmly. There was no way I could sit comfortably in this situation. I could hear him preparing the tea. I then heard the water heating up on the stove. It echoed through the quiet room.
He'd come here before he'd turned.
Huh? Iroha placed a teacup in front of me and began speaking.
He'd been an intelligent-looking boy. He'd had a stubborn side to him, but it was understandable considering his age. I thought he would get used to living here, but he was quiet, unsociable, and above all else, strong-willed.
Iroha looked far off into the distance as if he was dreaming of the past. He was telling me about Hayato's past. It took me some time to figure that out.
About 2 years after he'd come here, he had a big fight. It had been with... Oh.
Who was it?
He'd fought with Takeo. It's so funny. Takeo can be hostile, but he always talks so casually afterwards. They'd gotten into a scuffle. They hadn't been afraid of scarring their faces.
I can't believe that had happened.
Yes, but that was the only time they'd had such a big fight. He'd really been so unsociable and unwilling to cooperate. But now he's made his way up, and even has his own private room here. It might have been thanks to his sexual prowess, don't you think?
Iroha looked at me mischievously, and my cheeks immediately flushed. please don't tease me. Oh, yeah, please don't tease me. Please don't tease me.
What? I wasn't teasing you. I just told you what I was thinking.
I couldn't say anything further. Iroha slowly stopped smiling.
Well, I don't think a woman would be entranced from just a bed. I'm sure many women are attracted to his sincerity.
I felt a prickling pain in my chest. Trying to hide it, I forced myself to smile. I'm sure you're right. But why had Hayato fought with Takayo that time?
Curious, are you?
Of course I am.
Have some tea before it gets cold.
Okay, thank you. Instead of answering me, Iroha smiled. He then started talking about Hayato's past once again.
It had been about his comfort candies.
Huh?
When Hayabusa's mentor gave him his allowance, he would always rush out and buy candy.
Hayato had done that?
Yes. Knowing that, Takayo had made fun of Hayabusa, telling him that men shouldn't eat sweets. If that was the end of it, they wouldn't have gotten into a fight, but Takayo had continued teasing him, saying that wanting to give the candies to a girl was childish, and that he wouldn't be able to grow up. Apparently, he guessed right, and that's when they'd started fighting.
I can't believe all of that happened over comfort candies.
I finally figured it out. He diligently collected all of those candies so he could give them to you, right? That must be it.
It felt like my stomach was filled with butterflies and I couldn't speak. Had Hayato always been thinking of me? If that was the case, then I would feel so guilty. To protect myself from the pain, over these past few years, I'd slowly started to forget about him.
I'm sure Takayo had been jealous of him. They'd both lived in the same place, but Hayabusa had someone he cherished. Takayo had still been just a young child after all.
Iroha slowly sipped his tea. I sat there next to him, covering my face as I wiped my tears away.
So, Miss Misao, how did the comfort candies taste? That candy is from an old shop in this area and is said to be the best.
It was very delicious.
I'm happy to hear that. Well then, would you come back to Kikuya to visit Hayabusa again?
Huh? I was startled by the sudden question and stared at Iroha. Just like the first time I'd met him, Iroha had a welcoming smile on his face.
If you do come again, how about I hold on to the remaining valuables in your possession? The patrol supervisor can't use them as evidence if you don't have them. If you let us hold on to them for you, it'll be like you never had them. But I'll take the valuables as payment so you can meet with Hayabusa.
Sounds good to me. Hayabusa should have taken them in the first place. She would have been safer that way.
Plus, it might help pay off Hayabusa's debts as a courtesan. If that's what you want, that is.
His sudden proposal confused me, and I shifted my eyes back and forth. Iroha might have been right. In order to see Hayato here in the Pleasure District, I needed to lay low from the patrol squad and their supervisor. However, if I didn't have the valuables anymore, they couldn't use them as evidence. Even if they doubted me, they couldn't do anything without any evidence.
How about it, miss?
Well... But... I was sure Hayato wouldn't like the idea of me doing that, even if I did it in order to see him. I was sure he would be angry if I used those valuables for his sake, but it's not for his sake, it's for your sake, to keep you safe.
I think it's a fair proposal.
Yes, I understand that, but...
What's holding you back?
Hayato wouldn't like it if I did that.
Even if you did it just to visit him?
Yes, he told me to use it for a man I really loved.
Oh? That sounds like something he'd say, but you know, miss, feelings alone can't change people, and neither can someone's orders. People who choose their own paths to take and who they want to love. You might be the only one thinking those thoughts.
I might be the only one thinking that?
I won't force you to decide now. When you've calmed down, please take the time to listen to your heart.
After that, Iroha saw me off and I left Kikuya. I turned around to look up at Kikuya, but Hayato was nowhere to be seen. I was full of regret. Why did all this have to happen? I was sure I would have helped those two lovers no matter what. I hated how naive I was. I just wanted to be with Hayato. Once again, my naive wishes were making my heart waver. Saving. And that's it for this episode. I hope to see you in the next one to continue with this story. I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show your support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.